2026 just kind of came upon me real quick. I have been out with the flu and then I got COVID, but I am finally sitting down to do my 2026 I don't know, planner in order to, be able to plan my life because I plan a lot of things in my life, or at least I'm trying to now. So if you're into this way this book looks and you want to see how I did that first page, then keep watching. So here I am showing you that I want to add an index card at the back of the cover. I put post-it notes on all these pages just to show what I want to put on there, but I'm going to focus today mostly on showing how I did the 2026 cover page. But my book actually looks a lot different now because I've started to fill in a lot of these pages that I have planned. But I want you to see as you follow along with me that getting started late, before, I mean, if you really want to do these kind of beautiful spreads for a Bujo planner, you have to start pretty much in like November. Yeah, because doing all of this was a lot of work. So I decided to start planning things out, and I will start here and I will get back to the other pages, but I will already just have them, dog-eared, not really dog-eared. I mean, I'm not an animal, but have them sort of set aside as pages that I know what I want to put there. And as I think of more ideas for what to put in them, I will just keep putting sticky notes. And I still have a lot of sticky notes in those parts of my planner, which I will show you in my next video. But for today, I really just wanted to show you how I am doing the 2026 cover page. I have said cover page a lot of times, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what I'm doing now. If you saw my short, you saw that I love a cafe with bronze trim Twisby Eco. It has a medium nib, and I am currently using Diamine ink in the color Sherwood Green. It has got to be my favorite pen color of all time, which is funny because I did not used to like green. Green actually was not a color that I thought I would be using a lot of, but recently I've noticed myself using it a lot in like decor. But anyway, I just use that to do my leaves. As you can tell, I started off penciling out my design and then I'm going over it. This is just a zebra mild liner in a green color, like a light green color. I have sort of a vintage series pack. I'll have to look and see what this is. If I find it when I put this video up, I will link it in the description to show what pack it is. But I really like this green, and if you watch my other videos, which I'll be posting in the next couple of days, well, another video, I will show you how I used this particular highlighter to do my monthly spread and my weekly spreads. I have actually used this quite a bit in my journal, and I'm very, very happy with how that turned out. I actually really like how these leaves turned out, if I do say so myself. This is just my favorite eraser, and two other, it's a pen and a highlighter. That pen is a Uniball 1, I believe, in the color Cappuccino. So cute. And that is a stapler, well, you can read, eraser. It's one of those like plasticky erasers, but I love the way that it works. It doesn't like harass my page too much. And so here I'm just outlining all these letters, numbers that I carefully wrote. So you could tell it took me a while to figure out what I wanted, and then I realized I needed to like structure it a little bit more, so I added lines like on the top and the bottom to kind of help me know how tall and short I wanted the twos and the 0 and the 6. So it took me a while, but once I decided what I wanted, then I kind of made those lines a little bit darker with a pencil, and I just kind of tried to erase some of the other lines in there that are not as dark, because those were not the lines that I wanted to keep. Don't feel like you have to draw every single thing in your bullet journal. I know I could have just, got a sticker and put a sticker on here, but I just was feeling pretty confident that I could, write the numbers and trace them out. But if your artistic ability is just, sees a blank page as a little bit daunting, it might be helpful to either get a stencil or some stickers to help you start this part off. Speaking of artistic ability, I don't know what I was doing when I drew the flowers in that corner. They're not making me happy, so I decided to erase some of the more offending parts, which I thought at first was just the leaves. And as I continued to see how satisfying it felt to erase my artwork, I decided that I did not like the way that some of these flowers looked either. More than just some of the flowers. I actually decided to erase all of these flowers. So I opted, instead of even penciling them in, to just use my Uniball pen in Cappuccino Brown, since it's a pretty light color, to just go in and freehand some little 4-petal flowers, because that was easy and it was just vibing with me at the time. And I decided that I was going to be a little bit more decisive by using a pen and just kind of free flowing and letting the feeling of the page, the artwork that was coming together with the little butterfly and the design just kind of leaping. And so I ended up with those flowers. This page is my planning page. It's sort of a vision board. Right now there's only a couple of Post-its on there with some goals. I have since rehomed those particular Post-it notes, but I am using it for ephemera and swatches, different things that I want to incorporate into my journal. So it's going to be helpful to me throughout the rest of the journaling experience, I should say. And I selected these 3 colors. I wrote them down, I think, in the previous slides. And I'm just going over the edges with the progressively darker colors in order to give a shading effect. And in the end, it came out looking almost like a watercolor artwork, which I thought was pretty interesting for the use of markers, especially when I didn't use anything afterwards, like water or alcohol or anything to give it more of a like watercolor effect. So I really liked the way that turned out. Here I decided to use my favorite gel pen, my favorite black gel pen in the 0.7 size. I love the gold barrel. It's metal. I just got this one recently as a reward for teaching. I was teaching for a few months and it was really getting difficult. So I just started rewarding myself with stationery items, and this was my most recent one, and I am loving it. So I'm just using it to trace around the border of the leaves and the flowers, and also this butterfly. I kind of messed up a little bit where I made something a little bit too, the outline a little bit too bold, so I kind of just went with it and decided that things sometimes don't turn out exactly the way that you wanted them to, but I just decided to kind of, make lemonade when you get lemons, or whatever the phrase is. If you know the phrase, comment below and tell me what I'm supposed to know. I decided to use more colors of the world markers in the more blush colors. Here I'm using light and medium rose to fill in these flowers, and I really like the way that that color looks. I love it so much. I need to use it more in the rest of my journal. And that's one color that I need to use more in my journal. I've been using olive green in a lot of my spreads, but now that I'm watching this, I totally need to use that color more because it is so pretty. I filled it in with a deep rose so that it kind of gave a little bit of contrast. Usually that adds a little bit of interest to your drawings. And then I have this color, which is also from my vintage set. If I can find what color that was, I'll put it in there. And then to give it a little bit more interest, I added these little lines with dots inside the petals. It's not usually my style, but I kind of just decided to add a little bit of interest with some of the colors that I had already been using, and this one seemed like a good contrast to the flowers to add more like depth and boldness to it. And ultimately, I think that it turned out really well and it grounded the area. So afterwards, I decided to use my zebra sarasa in a vintage green to add a little bit more of a border, maybe some like leaf inspiration. And I wasn't really happy with the way that the color looked, so I decided to go over it with the color Deep Rose. I like the way that that turned out a lot better. And then I used light medium rose for the butterfly wings. But I tried to do some little designs like you would see in nature, the way that the butterflies look when you study their wings a little bit closer. And obviously it's not perfect, but I think it came out pretty good. So tell me what you think. I think this is a pretty easy design. It did not take me too long to get this together. And if you have more artistic ability than me, you will be able to do it even faster. So let me know if this was helpful for you, and like and subscribe if you liked it. And thank you so much.